folks, my name is Dan Brenton. I'm one of the solutions architects here at Uptime Software. If you joined us for our last video, we'd started creating a service level agreement to measure the availability of an internal website. And to do that, we had answered some basic questions about what percentage of uptime we need to have in our application, a time period when that application was supposed to be available, and the compliance period which we wanted to measure the availability across. So this week we're going to start adding some service level objectives to our SLAs. A service level objective is kind of one of those big tiers or components of an application that need to be available for us to consider it working. So let's click Add SLO and take a look at what we need to define our first service level objective. The first thing we're going to need to do is give it a name. And remember, we're phrasing these things from the perspective of our users, so don't get too technical in the descriptions here. In my example today, I'm just going to call it website front end because it's pretty self-explanatory and not too technical. But maybe something like database layer or app servers would make sense in your environment. Next, I'm going to give a brief description of my service level objective, and this just lets me provide a little bit more detail about what I'm measuring. In this case, it's the website front-end availability. So now we need to go find some service monitors to add into our SLO. In this case, I'm going to go find one of my elements for a web server and pull off some of the service monitors kind of related to its web serving role, which in this case is going to be the Apache process monitor, an HTTP check, and a web check, which together kind of give me a good idea of, is this web server doing what it's supposed to do. So what this is going to do is if any of these service monitors are in a non-OK state during the monitoring period of Monday to Friday, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., they're going to use up some of the allowable downtime from the SLA itself. So now we're quickly going to go add another service level objective to our SLA. This time we're going to measure the backend availability of our website, which is going to be the database layer itself. So again, we're going to give it a nice simple name and description here, website backend, and database layer for the description. So now we're going to go find some service monitors that let us measure the availability of the database layer. So in that case, I'm going to go find one of my database hosts here, and I'm going to add the MySQL process count check, which is testing the number of instances of MySQL running, and a MySQL login check that's actually attempting to log into the database itself. And I'm going to set those up together as a service level objective. So now that we've finished adding our service level objectives to our service level agreement, let's go back to the SLA dashboard and take a look at it, how this all looks together. So in this case, I'm going dashboards, I clicked SLAs, and then I'm going to go generate the detailed report here for my website down at the bottom, because that's the best way to kind of understand how this all works together. So now that the report's done generating, the first thing you'll see here is that my website backend SLA is shown up at the top, and I can see that so far there's been no overall outages from that SLO or any of the service monitors that go into it. Though you may notice that one of the monitors I have here had some data that's being saved for graphing and a critical threshold set up, and we kind of see a little period of time where that monitor should have been in a critical state because we've got less than one instance of MySQL running. But we don't see it in the SLO chart up above, and that's only because that happened before the service level objective was put together and applied to our SLA. So that outage didn't count, but any other outages like that going forth will actually show up on the report as kind of a little outage here on the top of the graph. And you'll have to join us next week to see what the report looks like with some real data in it, as well as some tips on how to permission users within Uptime so that they get taken straight to the SLA dashboard and these reports without getting bogged down with all the other stuff being monitored within Uptime. If you have any questions in the meanwhile, please visit uptimesoftware.com or email info@uptimesoftware.com. Thanks again for watching, folks. Cheers.